Hello everyone, Clack the Geek here, and welcome to another Bond ranking video. Now, I know I'm not doing these in order. We're going straight to Daniel Craig. This is because No Time to Die has come up. Yeah, we're going to be ranking all 5 Daniel Craig Bond films from worst to best. So a few things before we get started. One, it's just my opinion, and this can be my new motto as well. You don't have to agree, but you can still enjoy. Secondly, as for No Time to Die, one, there won't be any spoilers here. If you've not seen the film, you can still watch. And if you have seen the film, please don't spoil it in the comments. And 2, the No Time to Die ranking is bound to change. I mean, the others probably will stay where they are, but No Time to Die, because it is so recent, it could go up, it could go down. Yeah, that's all I have to say beforehand. So let's get into the ranking. At the bottom spot is Quantum of Solace, Daniel Craig's second film as Bond. And this is just a miserable experience for me, and it's one that I can hardly find anything good about this film. Now, there are other Bond films that I think are very bad and just not very good, that I can still find things about them that I like. You know, Thunderball, I find it incredibly dull, but Fiona is a great henchperson and it's got a really cool pre-title sequence. Die Another Day, it's incredibly stupid and really bad, but I really do like Miranda Frost and the Aston Martin Jaguar chase. That's really good. But with Quantum of Solace, there is practically next to nothing that I like, and it's just a miserable experience to watch. I mean, first of all, the direction is the worst in the franchise. I mean, it's just so obnoxious, and the editing is so choppy, and the direction, it's trying to be very fancy and thematic, but the fact that I can't follow a simple scene of characters walking through a building, there's no geography to it, and the fact that I can't follow a simple scene like that shows how poor the direction is. Whilst I appreciate what they were trying to do with Bond's character, it's still at the point where I just don't enjoy the Craig era, sort of. It's at the point in the Craig era where I'm still not really enjoying it. Dominic Green's a rubbish villain, Camille and the other Bond girls I don't care for, same for the rest of the cast. You've even got Paul Ritter in there, yeah, that's right, Martin for Friday Night Dinner. And he's just completely wasted. I mean, oh god, and just, this film is just miserable to watch for me, and I just, unless I have to rewatch it in a marathon or something, I would never want to rewatch it again. I just hate it. I know that this film has its fans, and that's awesome. You know, I love that every Bond film has its fans. You know, I mean, I can speak. I love Moonraker, and I always will. You know, but this film, I just don't like it. I never have, never will. And number 4 is Daniel Craig's 4th film, Spectre. Now, I prefer this to Quantum of Solace because it at least, you know, has a fair few elements that I do like, you know, such as Craig's Bond. I much prefer him like this, and aside from a couple of out-of-character moments, I think Bond is fantastic in this film. Sam Mendes does a terrific job with his direction, and especially in that pre-title sequence, you know, the one long shot at the beginning kind of reminds me of what he would do later with 1917, which if you've not watched it, my god, please watch it because it's a phenomenal film. But yeah, Sam Mendes' direction, cinematography, it's all brilliant stuff. But as for where this film misses, I mean, how much time have you got? Bond and Madeline Swan, I don't buy their chemistry, so it's hard for me to believe that they're like true lovers. I don't fully buy that in this film, even though I do in No Time to Die. This version of Blofeld, Christoph Waltz's Blofeld, is the worst Blofeld for me. I mean, say what you love about like Charles Gray, at least he's fun. You know, this guy is boring, lame, and just some of the dialogue is just like, oh, I'm the author of all your pain. It's just like, oh god, it just doesn't work. And them trying to make Bond and Blofeld adopted brothers is just dumb and pathetic. Oh, and it commits the cardinal sin of having him a less interesting villain than stuff like Le Chiffre and Silver, a less interesting villain than those, but he's higher on the food chain, and it just, not only is he poor, but it also undermines the other great villains. You know, he's behind everything, he's behind Le Chiffre, Quantum, Silver, it just undermines them. And with Silver, it doesn't even make any sense. Even the action in some of the scenes feels quite lacking in places, like the car chase in Rome, it just feels like it's just going through the motions, it's just really bland, and that's how I can describe a lot of this film. It's really bland, quite long, and just downright stupid in places. But from this point on, there is a massive leap in quality. Right, so for these next 2, they're practically neck and neck. On a different day, they could swap around, to be honest. But for the time being, at number 3, I'm going to say Casino Royale. It's Daniel Craig's first film from 2006, and look, I've maybe not been as positive on this film as I think some people are. You know, I don't rate it as highly. I wouldn't have it in my top 10 of all Bond films, but I can't deny the fantastic effort, and I really do appreciate this film, you know, for what it does and what it is. I really appreciate it. I think this film was ripe for its time, you know. I think Daniel Craig is very good in this film, just not how I prefer his interpretation of Bond. Eva Green as Vesper and Mads Mikkelsen as Le Chiffre, no complaints there. They're both fantastic as they are. And, you know, there's some really great stuff. You know, the casino scenes are really good. So there's some really good, pretty good action. You know, the pre-title sequence is really good. It's got one of the best gun barrels as well, because it actually, you know, it's really clever how it's woven into the narrative. That top pre-title sequence is really good. The crane fight is also quite good, if a bit unrealistic. You know, for this film, I think it goes for very realistic stuff. And when you have something like the crane fight, it does kind of jar slightly. It's just kind of, I don't know. I think there's a way to do gritty, realistic Bond, but still have it fun. From Russia with Love is an example I will give. License to Kill is another one. And I don't know, it's not that this film does anything bad. It's just, it doesn't suit my sort of preferences for Bond, if that makes sense. But it's still a fantastic film, just not one that I have a lot of fun with. At number 2 is the latest film, No Time to Die, which is very much on par with Casino Royale for me. These are the two that could probably swap around if on a different day. But I think at the minute I am saying No Time to Die just because it's more fun, honestly. I think the first 2/3 of this film are perfect. Craig is fantastic in this film, and he gives a fantastic performance as his final outing as Bond. And it's up there with his Skyfall performance as maybe the best. I don't know, but I love him in this film. Madeline Swan is miles better here than in Spectre. Paloma is a phenomenal character, and I wish she was in it more. Naomi is great, and much better than I thought she was going to be. There's other great characters, like, you know, some of the MI6 regulars are great. And it's great seeing Phoenix lighter again, after, you know, since Quantum of Solace. The action is brilliant, whether it's the pre-title sequence, the stuff in Jamaica and Cuba, and it's just so much fun, so vibrant, brilliant direction. Safin is okay as a villain, but Rami Malek does give him a bit of creep factor. It is quite creepy in places as well. It's just the first 2/3 are just absolutely perfect. But then, dumb story decisions in the final act. You'll know what I mean if you've seen the film, and I probably will do a spoiler video talking about it, but yeah, those really do drag the film down. But as I say, the good outweighs the bad for me. And at number 1 is 2012 Skyfall, the third outing for Craig, and also the Bond's 50th anniversary. Now, this is the film that I reviewed in the mini Bond marathon series, so if you want to check out my in-depth thoughts on Skyfall, go and check out that review. But in short, I was quite nervous going into it, considering I wasn't as fussed on the first 2 Craig films, and especially like this version of Bond. But Skyfall came along and it flipped it on its head. This film is bigger, grander, a bit more bombastic. Not silly, no, it's not silly, but it's a hell of a lot more fun. It does something different with the Bond formula. You know, it's different. There are aspects which aren't present, but it's just done perfectly. Bond in this film is the start of the Craig Bond that I love. You know, Daniel Craig's a brilliant actor, and if you write it into the script for him to be, you know, like this, he can do it exceptionally well, and he's brilliant. M is phenomenal, and Judi Dench gets a brilliant send-off. Javier Bardem as Silva is a phenomenal villain, and probably the best of the Craig era, I would say. He's very creepy, probably the most creepy of the Craig era. Sam Mendes does a phenomenal job with direction. It's got a phenomenal pre-title sequence, a great song. It's got, you know, you've got the Aston Martin DB5 back, yeah, after quite a while at this point. You get to visit Bond's home in Scotland. That's something new and interesting. You also get the best scene, definitely of Craig's era, which is the inquiry scene into Cut with Silver's escape. And that whole chunk of the film, but just before they go to Scotland, that's got to be the best seen in all of Craig's Bond. It's just phenomenally tense, and this film is just the whole package for me, and I adore it. And that's my ranking. Hope you enjoyed it. What are your thoughts on all of the Craig films? You know, what's your favourite, what's your least favourite, how would you rank them? Let me know all of that and more in the comments below. Be sure to like and subscribe, click the little bell so you don't miss a thing, and this is Clack of the Geek signing out. Goodbye everyone.